back to another Georgia recap slash preview. Here brought to you by the transfer portal CFB. I have my boy Doug with me. Doug, how are you, sir?
Doing well, doing well. How's it going, brother?
I was doing well as well. So we have an exciting matchup with Svana. We've been circulating this game for a while since last year when we lost to Florida. But first, before we get into Florida, how was your bye week? How did you spend the bye week? I know a weekend without Georgia football is definitely tough. But how did you manage to spend your bye week last week?
So, luckily, with the way the slate of the games were, for the most part, I was able to just chill. Like, had some friends come from out of town, caught up with them, was able to watch a few other games while I was with them. So, it was a nice, peaceful, relaxing weekend. Um, just ready for Florida and this other slate. So, it feels good to not have to not necessarily like worry, but not be like so entrenched that it occupies a lot of my time. So, how about yourself? How's the bye week for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. To be honest, I didn't watch a lot of football. So it was game six of the NLCS. As you can see, we're rocking the Braves tonight. Game three of the World Series is tonight. So I'm excited about that. But Saturday was game six of the NLCS against the Dodgers. So I spent most of the day I was just so like my heart and my stomach was just in knots all day, just thinking about that game. So I didn't really watch a lot of football, honestly. I think I watched a little bit of I did watch Illinois and Penn State a little bit, you know, that nine overtime game. But it's weird when Georgia isn't playing because when Georgia plays, you're kind of just waiting for them to start, whether
Right.
it's a 2:30 game or 5 o'clock game or a night game. You kind of flipping the channels, flipping to the games, waiting for them to kick off. But you know, it doesn't happen. It just feels like all right, you're just waiting, you're just anticipating that moment, and then it never comes, and it's just kind of man, there was definitely a void there not having Georgia football. I would have loved to have Georgia game before the Braves game, kind of calm the nerves down a little bit, because otherwise I was
Right.
thinking about it all day, and it kind of sucked. But it was cool. It was luckily it worked out. There was a lot of bad football, but that was good football. So it wasn't a terrible waste of a weekend.
Hmm.
But I'm definitely glad to have Georgia back. And it's always whenever the bye week comes, you know what comes after it. We have the dreadful, horrific, no good, horrible Florida Gators. Um, I
They
mean,
stink.
they stink, and I hate to say that I'm very disappointed that they suck so much that we couldn't get an interesting matchup this week. But they decided to lose three games. Two of them were one again was against Kentucky. The other one was against obviously the loss to Alabama, the loss to Kentucky, and then who did they lose to? Ole Miss,
LSU.
LSU.
LSU,
That's right,
yeah,
LSU.
led up the record number of rushing yards to LSU that day.
Horrific, just horrible, horrible, horrible. I don't want to hear anybody talk about Dan Mullen being better than Kirby Smart again. But anyway, let's get into it. Uh, we have a yeah, so it's an interesting matchup this week. I was really hoping that uh, they'd be better, and you know we don't know. Obviously, Florida is always going to play us tough. Um,
Hmm.
and we've had this game circled since last year when they beat us, in which I still think it took Kyle Pitts it took almost two Heisman finalists to beat us, and they still kind of barely beat us. They pulled away in the fourth quarter after Stetson Bennett had hurt his shoulder, and even Stetson Bennett had put up a 14-point lead on them before uh, Jackson Rosemi. No, sorry, Rosemi Jack Saint broke his ankle after that
Yeah,
touchdown.
the injury was not pretty.
Yeah, it wasn't. We had the Eric Stokes pick six, so there was a lot of good that happened last year. But we couldn't stop that wheel route, and we couldn't stop Kyle Pitts. So, yeah, it took that to beat us. And what happened? Have you seen that stat where it says since that game, Georgia is like 11-0,
Undefeated. Yeah. And
and
then Florida's
like
only beat
they're
like two, three Power Five teams max, I think.
yeah, they're like 3-7 or 3-6 or something like that since that game. So that goes to show what the state of the programs are. But anyway, what are you looking forward to this weekend against Florida?
One, to win convincingly. Um, I need that. I need them to cry. That's my thing. I need them to cry. I need them to suffer. I need this team to show no doubt. Um, but like honestly, I'm looking a lot towards the running game. Um, with Kendall Milton out, Kenny McIntosh is still kind of banged up, so it's going to be back to the old Georgia that we're used to. Two running back tandem, Zamir White and James Cook, going to take a lot of those carries. Zamir should have 120, 3 touchdowns on the ground. Um, Cook's going to have one receiving. Like I expect a lot from this team. Florida's got gashed by LSU with Ty Davis Price running for 286 yards. Their defense has always been questionable with Todd Grantham. Like that should be easy matchup no matter which quarterback's there. I think this would be the game for Bennett, mainly because again he adds that rushing element in case one of the running backs doesn't get going. And JT, even though he's 100% cleared, at least according to most recent reports, like I don't think you just throw him back cold the first game back against Florida. Like if it's a blowout, then you put him there and then you have him start the following week. But the offense should cook pretty easily. And then in terms of defense, Florida can run a lot. Their passing game is not good. Emory can't hit the broadside of a barn. And then you got Anthony Richardson, who's good, but he's still like raw talent. He's not refined yet. Like we saw that with LSU, they both threw at least 2 interceptions of awful decisions. Like I said, the issue is that we can run. I mean, Florida can run a lot, and we've dealt with that with Arkansas and Auburn. But at the same time, Florida, at least with Richardson, probably has the highest ceiling in terms of pass potential that we faced so far this year. So that's my big worry because, like I said, we're kind of banged up in the secondary a little bit. Chris Smith is out. Tyke, even though he didn't play much, he's out for the season. Speed's out dealing with injuries. So even though we still have the depth, same time, I'm just kind of worried about the secondary still. That's been my main worry this whole entire season. That would still be there until hopefully we lift that trophy at the end of January. But yeah, that's probably my main concern. But Georgia should win fairly easily. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, they should. I mean, you're definitely right on that. I'm looking forward to that as well. I'm looking forward to hearing Dan Mullen's post-game press conference after he loses. They're so funny to me because he's such a sore loser.
Yeah.
Dan Mullen is a horrible loser, and he always blames somebody else. It's always somebody else's fault. He always brings up yards. He always brings up this and that, and it's hilarious. And I can't wait to see that. I hope we get to see that. I'm still in this limbo where I'm expecting us to kind of falter. I'm not saying I'm not expecting us to.
Agreed.
I'm not expecting us to lose, but I'm expecting us to falter a little bit to show some kinks in the armor, and we haven't yet, and that's exciting and that's worrisome. But I don't see a better time to do it, or not. I wouldn't say better. I wouldn't say a worse time to do it, or a like more likely time to do it than now. I mean, even though Florida stinks and Dan Mullen stinks and everything about their program stinks,
Mm-hmm.
they're still Florida. It's still a rivalry game. They still have that potential of beating us. I think about a couple years ago, Jake Fromm's freshman year, when we went in there, we were ranked number 3 in the country, and we beat them 45-7. That's what I want to see on Saturday. I
Yeah.
want them to come in there. I want them to go up 35-0, 42-0. I want them to completely obliterate them early, and don't even worry about it, because you start playing cute, and this whole and you mentioned quarterbacks. I don't want to see a 2 quarterback 10. I don't want to see Stetson Bennett go for 2 drives and then JT go for 2 drives. I don't like that. It doesn't work.
Agreed.
They've tried that all season long. They tried it last year. They tried it when Justin Fields was here. It doesn't work. I don't want to see that. Either start JT. If you're going to start JT, start him, play him until it's a blowout, then bring in Stetson. If you're going to start Stetson, start him, play him until there's a blowout, and that's it. And then you can, like you mentioned, you can bring JT afterwards. So I agree with you 100% on that. I don't want to see the 2 quarterback tandem. I can see how that can get messy. I can see how that could kind of lead to, a brewing upset. I could see maybe, but if you just trust your offense, whatever quarterback you're going out there, trust them. And I don't think it'll be an issue. I don't. I really don't. So, that's what I'm looking forward to as well. I always want to see, whenever I think about a Georgia game coming up, I always think of how can we lose, right? So what is a way that we can lose? Like, is there any way, any pathway to see that you can see us losing this football game?
Yeah. So Mullen by far is probably the best offensive coach we have faced, and most likely will be the best offensive coach we faced. Although Josh Heupel, ever since he put in Hendon Hooker at Tennessee, like that offense has been amazing. But outside of like Mullen can scheme his guys open. Like Florida's issue was never really the offense, even in their down years. I mean, at least with Mullen. I mean, when they had McElwain and Muschamp, the offense was horrid, and Mark Rich still somehow kept on losing to him. But that's beside the point. But yeah, so Mullen can get his guys open. He can get the passing game going just enough to where we actually have to start worrying about their running game less. And then that's where they hit us. So kind of like that Trojan horse, throw, opens up Florida's bread and butter. Like, I mean, it has to be an uncharacteristic issue with the defense. And we've seen it before, like with Kirby. Like, we have an all-time run defense, but then next thing you know, it didn't matter because Joe Burrow was throwing 400, 500 yards against us. Like, we've seen it happen. But I do think that we do have the experience with corners, with Kendrick, and then Ringo's been pretty great for us so far this year, so no complaints with him. I think they'll be fine. But same time, if they get that passing game going, open up running lanes for whoever quarterback is in, that's when I'll start to worry. And then on the offensive side, if Bennett kind of reverts to type to last year's, where he wasn't the most accurate kind of guy, and then you put in JT, and JT's still not necessarily fully ready, like that's my thing. So it's a lot of my big worry for Florida if they do somehow win is that us reverting from 2021 Georgia to 2020 Georgia, where we have the talent. It's just not fully there like what we expected. That's probably their only way to win.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree with you 100% on it. You're right. It just seems that, and that's what I've been waiting for. It just seems that no matter how good this Georgia team is, or any Georgia team, there's always one game, one matchup where it just for some reason it just doesn't work. All the stats and everything that's going for them, it just goes out the window and it doesn't work. And like you said, we've had a godly defensive line and front seven, and then for whatever reason they just can't get to the quarterback, or they can't stop the run, or they can't get to you mentioned the passing lanes. And I think that see that as well. We definitely saw what happened last year we couldn't stop the wheel route to save our lives. And it was just such a simple play, but we couldn't stop it for whatever reason. They were running it over and over and over and over and over again, and we couldn't stop it. And that was pretty much our only, real defensive, laps last year. I think the offense was more of the issue last year without a quarterback for a good portion of the year. But that game against Florida last year, it baffled me because we couldn't stop that wheel route, and I'm scared. I'm scared that this is going to be something of the same, where like you said, Dan Mullen comes up with some sort of scheme where he's able to get his guys open, where they're able to move down the field, and then it turns into a shootout, to an offensive shootout, and like I mentioned earlier, with these quarterback carousel, if it's a back and forth game, I don't really want to have two different quarterbacks in there with two different skill sets and two different, it just like it's a recipe for disaster. I don't want to see it at all. I that's one thing Kirby has faulted since he's been at Georgia, is handling a quarterback room. And you compare him to Alabama, you come to Nick Saban, or you compare him to Dabo Swinney. When Dabo Swinney, he had Kelly Bryant starting, and the moment Kelly Bryant struggled, he put in Trevor Lawrence, and he never looked back, and that was it, right? Same thing with Alabama. He had his guy. He had
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts. That was his guy. He took him to a national championship. He had no reason to bench him. He comes out of the national championship game, struggles. He puts in his freshman. He wins the game. He doesn't look back. But for some reason,
Yeah, we don't talk about that game.
yeah, we don't. Not usually, but I had to bring up that point. But for some reason, Kirby Smart can't do that. He for some reason, I feel like he has this sense of loyalty to his players, and he wants to show how he can. I don't want to say he's trying to take credit. I'm not trying to say he's being selfish with the decisions that he's making, but I feel like he's kind of maybe overthinks it a little bit and thinks like, no, I have to do this for like morale reasons, or I want to show them what my 3 stars can do. And sometimes it's not that it's almost makes too much sense, right? To bring in your 5-star quarterback and play him.
Right.
And I think he made that mistake with Justin Fields. And I hope he's not making the same mistake now. And we talked about it previously. I love Stetson Bennett. I love everything that he's done. He's definitely kept us afloat. He's definitely earned a spot in the history books at Georgia. He's going to go down and remember he kept us afloat as a #1 team in the country, and he helped us win. But it's not that hard to decide between JT Daniels and Stetson Bennett. It's really not. JT Daniels is just a better quarterback. But if you're going to play Stetson, play Stetson. Play him all game. Play him all 4 quarters until either we're winning by 40 or we're struggling or he's struggling. I don't want to see a tandem back and forth, and that's where I can see a struggle where it can get messy, especially against the Dan Mullen. If our defense struggles and we need our offense to step up, it could definitely get messy. So I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I don't think it'll happen, but I don't want to see that. So moving on to, let's just say it's Saturday night. The game's over. Okay, you open up the ESPN app. What are the headlines are you seeing? What are you seeing on offensively, defensively? What do you expect to see Saturday night after the game is over? What are you looking for?
So like I mentioned earlier, I expected Zamir White to get 123 touchdowns, so it's going to be Zamir's big day. Zamir White leads a miraculous performance as #1 overall Georgia trounces the Gators. Stetson Bennett chips in 167 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 to Cook, and then 1 to McConaughey, just because. But yeah, and then defensively, Georgia forces 3 turnovers, 2 fumbles and a pick. Yeah, 2 fumbles and a pick. I'm not even naming defensive players because that's just, it's not pretty. I mean, it's not pretty in terms of, it's also, we're recording at like 10 a.m. Eastern, so it's kind of early to be naming defensive guys. But yeah, defensive forces 3 turnovers, sacks, Emery and Anthony at least 2 times each. Just an easy day for the Georgia defense, Georgia offense. Florida chips in a garbage time touchdown late, which raises Georgia's points allowed to 7 points a game.
So what's the final score?
So I gave 5, so 38-14.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. So for me, when the game's over on Saturday night, and I'm looking at the headlines, I see #1 Georgia survives scare, pulls away late. That's what I'm envisioning. I think it'll be a close game at half. I think we kind of, maybe it'll come out a little bit slow out of the bye. I could see maybe trailing 14-7. It's a back and forth game early in the first quarter, second quarter, maybe like a 21-14 halftime. And then they just pull it off. Just, second half, just kind of what you said, just pound the run run the ball. Zamir White gets going on just runs the ball down the throat of the Florida defense, scores 2 or 3 touchdowns, and they pull away. I think I'm going to go 42-21 Georgia. And we've kind of noticed the defense. I don't know if you've noticed this, but I've kind of noticed the defense over the last few weeks. They've just shown a little bit more, like they've kind of, they were very dominant early, but the last few weeks they've shown a little bit more, vulnerability. I don't know if it's just fatigue. I don't know if it's just they're playing better teams, but
They're playing better teams because that's Clemson's offense is arguably the worst we've ever seen in the history of college football. That's not from the Big Ten. And then UAB was just not good. UAB is good, but the golf is just stupid. And then South Carolina, not good. Vandy, not good. Then Arkansas, that was actually a legit all-time performance by the defense. Auburn, you saw them, like the receivers are getting open. It's just that Bo Nix stinks. Yes. And then Kentucky was driving. It's just their issue is that they just took way too much time because they probably could have squeezed like 3 drives in that one drive that entire fourth quarter if they were able to actually pace themselves. But they took 11 minutes for one entire drive. But but some of the play designs were actually genius from Kentucky. They were just getting blown up, like that back screen that Nakobe blew up.
Yeah.
So Kentucky ran that 2-3 times. It worked the first time, and they got some yards. It's just that they blew it up. So we're actually playing good teams. And then the next few weeks, because Missouri and Tennessee aren't slouches. So it's good that the defense is holding up per se, but like you said, the cracks are still there. They're not the invincible dogs, but they're still pretty damn good.
Yeah, no, they really are. And I agree with you. And I think this is our last real test. Tennessee, I think Tennessee could give us a run for our money too, but, especially because it's in Rocky Top, but I don't know. I think this is our last real. If we can beat Florida and we can get out of here, get out of Jacksonville unscathed, I think we'll be okay. I think that's it. I think we'll smooth sailing. And I say that, and then we're gonna end up losing to Charleston Southern or imagine if we lose to Charleston Southern. That would be.
Yeah, we're done. That's just no playoff, no nothing. You can't bounce back.
You can't. Yeah, you can. I think that might be the game that, not to get too far ahead, we'll talk about that when we get there, but that might be the perfect game to kind of ease JT back into it.
But that's also the second to last game of the season. So
I thought we played them after Florida, don't we not?
No, because after Florida is Missouri and then I think Tennessee.
Oh, okay. Well, then I was.
Yeah, because I know Southern is right before Tech.
Okay, you're right. You're absolutely right. Never mind then. So never mind what I said, but.
Yeah, because it's Missouri, Tennessee, Southern, and then Tech. So.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Well, never mind on that. But what I will say, obviously, Florida-Georgia rivalry has been a big part of as a Georgia fan. That's something that you've always looked forward to. It's just Florida-Georgia rivalry, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, and there's been a lot of great moments over the years. What would be your favorite Georgia Florida moment, would you say?
All right, so I'll give you 3. Because for the most part, my entire childhood, adulthood, Florida's pretty much owned us in the rivalry. But I'll give us 3. So obviously, everybody comes off the bench, stomping.
Yeah.
2007, the year we made and won the Sugar Bowl, special year. That was fun. It was a tone setter. We definitely needed that. The issue was that Florida paid us back the following year, beating us 49-10, and Urban kept on calling timeouts to just prolong the game because that's what Urban Meyer does. Second one, obviously, the Jordan Reed fumble that Jarvis Jones forced in 2012. Back and forth game. Florida was driving. Jordan Reed goes up, tries to hurdle. Jones forces the fumble, recover in the end zone for a touchback, seals it. Come the number 2 team in the country. We don't talk about anything that happened after that. And then finally, I got to go 2017. Just exercising all our demons from the past Florida whoopings, 42-7. From probably was his best game as an actual quarterback. Like
He
defense
was
was
slinging
great. They're
the thing.
picking. He was slinging that thing. Like Javon Williams had that nice grab, backline corner fade. It's beautiful. And then we had the interception on the sideline that they thought that. Well, I mean, Nestler thought it was out of bounds, but it was actually inbounds, and we caught it. And then just overall domination. Like it was beautiful, beautiful. Love that.
That is hilarious because those were my three moments that I was gonna say as well. They're just classics, man. I loved them. That stomp against Florida. I think I saw a documentary about that, or kind of like a story about that. Mark Kotrick said like, yeah, you can celebrate, or yeah, go ahead and celebrate. And I guess the whole team interpreted it like as go out there and celebrate, and they all went out there, and that so yeah, that was fun. All right, that's one of my favorite moments too. And then yeah, the that Jordan Reed fumble, I remember it most because of the Malcolm Mitchell touchdown to seal it late. I remember texting my friend, and she's a Florida. She's from Florida, and we were texting during that game. And she was like talking crap and like, oh, we're gonna win, and well, and then that Malcolm Mitchell touchdown happened, and I was just going crazy. I remember texting her, and I saw her at school that Monday, and I was like, yeah, like just talking crap. So that was fun. And then yeah, I want to put together the Jake Fromm years. I want to put them all in one category because those are probably three very fun games because Florida fans, for some stupid reason, they love talking crap about Jake Fromm. They shit on Jake Fromm all the time, but Jake Fromm is their daddy. He's 3-0 against them. Say what you
Yeah.
want about Jake Fromm. I can say what Jake Fromm. I have my opinions on Jake Fromm too, but Florida fans have no right to talk about Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm went in there 3 years in a row and they won 42-7 the first year. And I think what was the
Beautiful.
second year, like 38-14 or something like that. It
Yeah,
was
and then the final year was the really tight one because our offense was garbage, and I think it was like Eli Wolf called like a fourth down conversion.
yeah, I remember
It was
that.
like third or like fourth down, and he caught it, and that's how we won.
Yeah, and Jake Fromm
So
threw it flat-footed. I think he was like coming back, and he just kind of just threw it out there, and Eli Wolf caught it, and that's when Lawrence Cager had 2 touchdowns. I think every game, the first game was Wims. The second game was JJ Holloman. May
yeah,
he may he rest in peace. Not He's not dead. He got kicked out of the program, but he was
yep,
really good. Um, and then the third year was Lawrence Cager. Every year we had another receiver just dominate. But yeah, those 3 years were pretty fun just because Florida fans, and that's the reason why. See, I used to not hate Florida that much. It wasn't a big deal to me, and then when I joined Twitter and I see what Florida's Twitter is like,
hmm
they're horrific. They're the worst fan base in sports. They're horrible. Like
yeah,
you're 4-3, and you're over here talking you're talking crap about a Kentucky team scoring on Georgia, but you lost to Kentucky. Like I don't,
yeah. That's my thing. Like I
like
hate the whole. Yeah, no, like haha, you let them score on you. It's like you lost to them. Like I don't like that transitive property thing.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
if you lose to them, you can't really
You can't,
slander them for the year.
yeah, you can't say anything. And then they love bringing up Alabama and how the Alabama beats us. You have to use another team's success to talk shit because you can't beat us. At least not lately. So I'm looking forward to, if we lose to Florida, if Florida knocks us off the number 1 ranking, I'm going to deactivate my Twitter because I can't deal with them. I can't deal with that fan base. That fan base is horrific. They're the worst fan base in sports. I wish them nothing but bad luck. I hope Florida never wins a game ever again because they don't deserve it. They're trash,
I
trash
hope they
fan
go the
base.
way of Tennessee and finish like 7-5 and 8-4 forever.
Their best year in a decade was last year, and they lost more. They still lost more games than Georgia did, and they had worse losses. They lost 3 games in a row They had a Heisman finalist as quarterback and probably the best tight end or best receiver and slash tight end in years, a generational talent.
They had talent.
And they lost 4 games. So that's hilarious to me. They don't deserve anything. They're trash. They deserve to be that nasty. I'm so glad we play in Jacksonville because that nasty. I wouldn't want to play in that nasty swamp, horrific stadium that they have. It's horrible. It's ugly. But yeah. I can go off and off about Florida, and I'm sure you can too.
I can, like, between them and Auburn. I generally wish both programs don't exist. Actually, no, I do wish they exist because I want to beat them a lot every single year. Like, but yeah, no, they're the worst. Not happy. If they're happy, I'm not happy. If I'm happy, they shouldn't be happy. So
yeah, Florida's the worst. Yeah, I hate them. I hate them. There's not a lot of programs or teams that I hate, and I genuinely hate Florida and everything they stand for, and their fans are horrible. They're atrocious. They deserve the worst. So yeah, that's how passionate we are about this matchup against Florida. So we'll definitely have to see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. And it's gonna be fun. I hope we can come back on Wednesday or whenever we record this next week and just laugh and share fun memories about the misery it is that Florida fans are facing, and continue being the best team in the country. And that's what I look forward to.
And if we lose, this will not be recorded.
Nope. We're gonna burn this.
Yep, gonna burn this, remove it from YouTube, remove everything, and we're not gonna record for at least until after we beat a rival. So
yeah, if we lose and Florida fans find this, that's not gonna happen. We'll delete everything. This never happened. This never. So, but we're looking forward to it. We'll see what happens. It's gonna be a great game. Any last words, Doug?
Go Dogs, and I wish Florida rots in hell.
Amen to that. And go Braves. I do want to send that out there. They play the same day as well. So hopefully it's a fun day for me. I see Georgia dominate Florida. I see the Braves win game 4 tomorrow. So that'll be fun. But
I can't say anything about the Braves because I'm a Phillies fan. So
it's okay.
Yeah.
We come to common ground with Georgia, and that's what's important right now.
Exactly.
But last thing before we go, I did tweet, and I know you didn't like what I said. I said that in our chat. I said I would sacrifice if Georgia lost to Florida for a World Series, and I stand by that. And the only reason why I say that is because even if we lose to Florida, I know our margin of error is smaller, but we do have a better chance. We still control our own destiny. We win the rest of our games. We beat Alabama. We're in the playoffs anyway. So,
but I like that margin for error. We are Georgia. Georgia needs a margin for error.
That is true. But you're gonna have to beat them, and you're gonna have to beat Alabama anyway, whether it's in the SEC championship game or in the playoff. You're gonna have to beat them anyway. So
that's true.
Why not? But yeah, I'm sorry. It's been a long time since the Braves have been in the World Series, since I've been born. They won it the year I was born, 1996. So yeah, I would do it. I'm sorry. I hope it does. But hopefully I don't have to choose. Hopefully they both do it, and that's even better. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens. But thank you guys for listening and watching, and we hope to see you back next week in a great mood and happy that we won. And enjoy your Saturday of college football.
Enjoy, y'all.